In the middle of the Negev desert lies a structure that officially doesn't exist. It's not marked on most maps, and for decades, no international inspectors have ever been allowed inside. Its purpose is described vaguely, research maybe, or energy. But for most intelligence analysts, there's no mystery. They know exactly what the facility in Dimona is. It's a nuclear weapons plant, and it belongs to a country that has never admitted to having nuclear weapons. While the world focuses on Iran, North Korea, and the superpowers, one country has quietly built one of the most sophisticated nuclear programs on Earth, without ever saying a word. This is Nexus-Feed Deep Dive Session, and in this video, we ask the question that many have wondered, but few dare to confront. Does Israel have nuclear weapons? And what does that mean for the future of the Middle East and the world? Let's get started. Ask an Israeli official about their nuclear status, and you'll likely hear the same phrase, repeated almost word for word since the 1960s. Israel will not be the first country to introduce nuclear weapons into the Middle East. It's a masterstroke of diplomatic language, deliberately vague, calculated, and deeply strategic. This is what's known as Israel's policy of nuclear ambiguity, or in Hebrew, amimat. It's not a denial, but it's not an admission either. This policy allows Israel to maintain a credible nuclear deterrent without formally triggering the political and diplomatic backlash that would follow a public declaration. But while Israel may remain silent, the rest of the world has been talking. Intelligence agencies, investigative journalists, former insiders, all paint the same picture. Israel is a nuclear power, and not a small one. So, if everyone knows, why not just admit it? Because ambiguity isn't just policy, it's leverage. And leverage in a region as volatile as the Middle East is everything. Let's begin with the numbers. Most experts estimate that Israel possesses between 90 and 200 nuclear warheads. That places it among the top 10 nuclear powers globally, on par with, or possibly exceeding the UK's deployed stockpile. Israel is also believed to have second strike capabilities, meaning it could retaliate with nuclear weapons even after being hit first. This includes missiles launched from land, air, and, perhaps most controversially, nuclear-armed submarines stationed in the Mediterranean. Its delivery systems are advanced. The Jericho missile series is believed to give Israel the ability to strike targets well beyond the Middle East. Its Air Force, particularly its U.S.-supplied F-15 and F-35 jets, are believed to be nuclear capable, and its Dolphin-class submarines provided by Germany are suspected to carry cruise missiles capable of launching nuclear warheads. But remember, none of this has ever been confirmed by the Israeli government. Why does this matter? Because nuclear opacity creates a dangerous paradox. Everyone assumes the weapons are there, but no rules, treaties, or oversight can apply if the existence of those weapons is never acknowledged. The secret begins in Dimona, a small desert town in southern Israel. In the late 1950s, Israeli leaders, especially then defense official Shimon Peres, recognized that conventional military strength might not be enough to ensure the survival of their young state. Surrounded by hostile neighbors and haunted by the recent memory of the Holocaust, they pursued a nuclear option in total secrecy. With covert assistance from France, Israel began building the Negev Nuclear Research Center near Dimona. The official story? It was a textile plant. Later, it was rebranded as a research reactor. But the facility was constructed to do one thing: produce weapons-grade plutonium. By the early 1960s, the reactor was operational. By the late 60s, according to declassified U.S. intelligence, Israel had assembled its first nuclear weapon, just in time for the Six-Day War. There was no test, no announcement, just quiet, deliberate construction, and then silence. For decades, the world had little hard evidence. until one man decided to blow the whistle. In 1986, Mordecai Vanunu, a former technician at the Dimona facility, gave an exclusive interview to the Sunday Times in London. He revealed detailed photographs and descriptions of Israel's nuclear arsenal, claiming that the country had built over 100 warheads and had the ability to produce thermonuclear weapons. The revelations stunned the global security community, but the Israeli government responded swiftly and decisively. Mossad agents lured Vanunu to Rome, kidnapped him, and brought him back to Israel. He was tried in secret and sentenced to 18 years in prison, including 11 years in solitary confinement. Vanunu's leak was a watershed moment. It confirmed what many had suspected. But again, Israel never publicly responded. The official policy of ambiguity held firm. Why has Israel gone to such lengths to keep its nuclear capabilities unofficial? There are three main reasons. First, ambiguity allows Israel to avoid the international repercussions that come with being an openly declared nuclear state. It can continue receiving U.S. military aid, avoid international sanctions, and sidestep the obligations of treaties like the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT. Second, it prevents a regional arms race, at least in theory. If Israel were to openly declare its arsenal, it might push other regional powers, like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, or Turkey, to pursue nuclear programs of their own, arguing that they must restore balance in the region. Third, secrecy amplifies deterrence. When enemies don't know exactly what you have, or how far you're willing to go, they are more likely to hesitate. But that very ambiguity also breeds mistrust, speculation, and the potential for miscalculation. In nuclear politics, uncertainty can be just as dangerous as overconfidence. So how does Israel manage this without angering its closest ally, the United States? The answer lies in a covert agreement forged in 1969. During a meeting between Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir and U.S. President Richard Nixon, a deal was struck. The United States would tolerate Israel's nuclear arsenal as long as Israel did not officially declare it or conduct public tests. This agreement, never written down but widely acknowledged by historians, formed the basis of the don't ask, don't tell policy on Israeli nukes. Subsequent U.S. presidents have upheld this stance. Billions in military aid continued to flow. American opposition to Iran's nuclear program remained fierce, but when it came to Israel, Washington looked the other way. This selective enforcement of nuclear rules is one of the great contradictions of modern geopolitics, and a major source of frustration for many in the global South. And that brings us to Iran. The most immediate consequence of Israel's nuclear opacity is the crisis with Iran. Iran has repeatedly pointed to Israel's undeclared nuclear arsenal as a double standard. Tehran argues, why are we sanctioned for enriching uranium, while Israel faces no scrutiny at all? While Iran is a signatory to the NPT, Israel is not. And yet, it is Israel that has conducted multiple military operations to sabotage or destroy nuclear facilities in the region, including in Iraq, Syria, and Iran. The recent U.S.-Israel bombing of Iranian nuclear sites has reignited fears of a larger regional war, or worse, a nuclear escalation. For Israel, the logic is simple. Iran cannot be allowed to develop a bomb. But critics argue that Israel's own nuclear posture is what motivates Iran in the first place. It's a deadly cycle. Secrecy breeds fear. Fear drives ambition. Ambition provokes conflict. Israel's nuclear doctrine is often referred to in hushed tones as the Samson option. The idea is this: if Israel were ever faced with total destruction, it would take its enemies down with it, just like the biblical Samson. But more recently, analysts have proposed a different model: the cumulative threat. According to this theory, Israel's nuclear policy is not about all-out retaliation, but about gradual, escalating deterrence. Instead of threatening a massive strike, Israel sends subtle signals, deploying submarines, upgrading missile systems, releasing hints through anonymous sources. It's nuclear diplomacy by implication, a slow, creeping reminder to adversaries we have options you don't want us to use. In a world increasingly destabilized by great power competition, cyber warfare, and authoritarian resurgence, Israel's nuclear opacity might seem like a relic of the Cold War. But it's more relevant than ever. As more countries in the Middle East consider nuclear programs, whether civilian or military, the question of Israel's arsenal becomes a central issue in arms control. If Israel continues to evade global nuclear norms, why should others comply? If secrecy is rewarded, why should transparency matter? And if one country can destroy an adversary without warning, how secure is the global non-proliferation regime? There is a growing chorus, both internationally and within Israel, calling for a more honest approach. Some argue that by formally acknowledging its arsenal, Israel could join global arms control talks, reduce regional tension, rebuild trust with adversaries, and position itself as a responsible nuclear power. Others fear that transparency would embolden enemies, trigger sanctions, or unravel carefully built security relationships. But doing nothing is also a risk. As AI systems are integrated into military platforms, as missile defense becomes more complex, and as the possibility of false alarms grows, the cost of ambiguity may one day outweigh its benefits. So, does Israel have nuclear weapons? Almost certainly, yes. But the more important question is this: how long can the world afford to ignore it? Secrecy has worked for Israel, for now. But in a region where one misstep can lead to catastrophe, ambiguity may no longer be enough. The world is changing, and so too must our approach to the unspoken truths that shape it. If you found this video insightful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into global power and politics. Subscribing also helps us grow as a new YouTube channel. Thank you. And do let us know what you think in the comments section. Should Israel come clean about its nuclear arsenal? Or is silence the smartest weapon in a dangerous neighborhood? Join us in our next one. But until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep safe.